Hello there. So I am so happy to be bringing you another entry into our Mastering Your Hormones series. Hormones are something that a lot of folks don't know a lot about. When we think of hormones, we immediately, as women, we often think of estrogen and progesterone, and but we are talking about some different ones during this series, and primarily those that can really affect your fat loss because most of the folks that are on challenge and most of the folks that I get to talk to on a daily basis have a fat loss goal. And often we know about reducing calories and we know about increasing movement, but we don't talk about a lot of the other items that can affect your fat loss. And the good news is that even though sometimes this can feel like a lot of information, it really is a position of power for you. So I'm really excited to talk with you today about cortisol. Hormones aren't super sexy. They're not super interesting. They aren't something that is in the news very often. And so when you hear these things, they might be the first time you've heard them. And so just bear with me and we're going to kind of take a walk through cortisol. So, what is cortisol? So, we know about progesterone and we know about testosterone and we know about estrogen. But I want to talk about last time we got to talk about insulin and how that can affect your fat loss. And today we're talking about cortisol. So, what is cortisol? So, cortisol has its main job. It's the same job that I'm always telling you your brain. What's your brain's main job? It's helping you survive, right? Cortisol is the same. Cortisol's main job is to help you survive periods of stress. Okay, so we all have periods of stress. Many of us live in a chronic state of stress. So, I want to kind of pull you back a little bit and think of yourself a little bit differently. So, while we are humans and we're highly evolved, we are also animals. And so, for a moment, I just want you to entertain the idea that you are a zebra and you are enjoying your breakfast. Oh, go back. Don't tell my story. You are enjoying your breakfast of grass on the savannah and you are fine. Everything is good. You are eating your carbs. You are enjoying your morning. And then you are approached by a lion. You see a lion coming. You know the lion is going to try and kill you because that's what lions do to zebras. And you are immediately, innately know that you have to bolt. So you take off running. You are booking it out of town from the lion, and your body knows exactly what to do. It wants to survive. So your body raises the cortisol levels, and the cortisol levels then message your body that you need blood sugar. The blood sugar rushes to your muscles. Your muscles now have adequate fuel so they can go ahead and help you escape. Your blood pressure goes up because as you're booking it out of town to get away from the lion, your muscles need more oxygen. Sorry, I spelled oxygen wrong apparently. And then you get out of town. So once you get out of town from that lion, what happens? Two things have happened, right? Either we get eaten by the lion, and then it doesn't really matter what our cortisol levels are, and our nervous system failed us, or we get back to the savannah, right? And then what happens to those cortisol levels? We no longer are in a flight zone. We no longer require that sort of oxygen and blood sugar. And so what happens? Cortisol levels go back down. Everything's fine. We're back to enjoying our grass, beautiful breakfast in the morning. So, what has gone wrong with cortisol, with America, with current day life is that we are in levels of chronic stress, right? We're never getting to the savannah. We're never escaping the lion. We are constantly moving, constantly eating, constantly running. Our bodies are in panic most of the time by just because of our lifestyle, right? We go from stressful morning getting the kids out of the house to stressful job to stressful afternoon delivering to soccer to stressful evening trying to do homework and get school and get dinner on the table and then stressful getting everyone to bed and then it's over and over and over. There's never the time that you go down back to the savannah. Even in the evenings when we decide once we get the kids down and once things start to calm down, what do? Very often, we turn on Netflix and we watch super scary shows that spike our cortisol. Or we're watching the news, which can be scarier than Netflix, and that spikes our cortisol. Or we simply pull up our phones and we're scrolling Facebook. And know it or not, that causes a lot of stress. It's a lot of anxiety for our bodies to um, process all of that information, to make decisions about all of that information. And so that decision fatigue, the alarm and that we have from the news, the urgency that our life is, right, is all keeping us in this chronic level of stress. So we never actually get to the savannah where we get to kind of come back down from that high cortisol level and relax again. And that's really the problem with the cortisol. So when we're in stress and we have a high level of cortisol, our body, because it's in this survival mode, right? Because it's you're a zebra running from a lion, so while you're in this area of stress, your body is like this preteen over here who is just mad. It is just buckled in. I don't know. I'm not going to be burning fat and building muscle. I have no idea why I keep running from the lion. I am very concerned about my survival. So I better shut down metabolism. I better buckle in and not let anything serious happen because I'm trying to keep this person alive. And clearly, we're running from lions all day long. So, this is kind of a side note, but I like to bring it up because you might hear sometimes about a neuropeptide. So these are like little proteins in our brain, and neuropeptide Y, its job is to shut down metabolism. So sometimes you hear nutritionists or coaches or people in magazines talk about starvation mode. This is kind of what that is. So it's not that you're actually starving, it's just that your body is worried you will be starving because clearly you're so stressed and worried, running from the lion, taking care of all the things that we take care of all day, never really having downtime, that your body just goes ahead and shuts down your metabolism. So when you hear people talk about, well, I have a super slow metabolism, really you're probably talking about something that you could control. Neuropeptide wide shuts down metabolism. I'm very worried that my person is running from a lion, and I'm going to protect it by protecting all of the fat that it has, all of the energy it has, and I'm going to buckle in. Now, that's not the worst of it. It's not just the bad part that it's not going to let you burn fat. The worst part is that because you're under stress and because your body wants to make sure you have enough reserve for all this running from lions, what does it make you do? It makes you crave calories. It wants to make sure you have enough energy. And we know that energy is calories, right? It's not just something that makes you fat. But when your body shuts down because it's worried that it's had too much stress, it's never going to crave an apple. It's always going to crave sugar, salt, and fat 100% of the time. So that's why when you start to feel stressed, you want something salty, or you want something cheesy, or you want something sweet, right? Because those things your body knows have the most calories. They know that you'll get lots of it in. And so it will literally make you crave that because it knows you're in a stress response and it wants to hold on to all the calories that it can, right? So I hope this is making sense to you. I hope that it's bringing you some information that maybe you haven't heard before because we really can control this. For me, when this actually happened to me last night. I got in my car after kind of a weird new day for me. I had some new things going on. So naturally, my stress level was a little higher than usual. And I thought to myself, I wish I had a cookie. I literally wanted a sugar cookie. Like I wanted the grainy feeling of the cookie. I wanted that. And I immediately knew today was a stressful day, right? So when we're aware of these things, then we can make changes along the way. All right. So last time we spoke about a hormone, it was about insulin. And we talked about how when insulin is present in our body knows that there's new energy available. It knows that we've recently eaten food and now it doesn't need to burn what's on our thighs, right? Because there's new food available. I know there's new food available because I sense insulin is here, right? So now we've introduced cortisol, this lion. We've introduced carbohydrates, right? Because that insulin, you can wave bye bye to fat loss. If these two are present together, fat loss is really hard, if not impossible. So that is what I want you to be aware of. So, how can we help control cortisol? Cortisol is intended, be, we're supposed to make cortisol. Cortisol is supposed to be around. Like, that is our job, is to help us survive really stressful periods. It's just that the stressful periods are supposed to be short, but our current life is so stressful. So, we can really use cortisol through high intensity interval training. You're welcome. Welcome to Fit Body Bootcamp. You can use that HIIT training because it gives you little short bursts of a stress response that accelerates your burning and helps you prevent that fat storage. Right? It gives you that cortisol response. Ooh, we're running from a lion because we're doing these jogs here, right? But what's going to happen in 30 seconds? We're going to pause. It's going to bring that cortisol down, and then we're going to go back at it, and then we're going to pause, and then the rest of the day is calmer because we've had these short bursts. So this is why high intensity interval training is so useful, and that's why we use it. So we're going to try and make cortisol work for us by doing that high intensity interval training. We're also going to try and avoid processed foods. Remember how we've talked about the insulin. Moving those carbohydrates to the end of your day, we call it carb backloading, is super useful in trying to create an atmosphere of fat burning. We're going to minimize stress. Obviously, we still have jobs, we still have children, we still have husbands, we still have both spouses, we still have schedules, but we can minimize the prolonged periods of stress, right? You can work out at FitBody. We're going to deliver great training that's going to give you those short bursts of adrenaline and growth hormone and cortisol, and then we're going to let that be released. And that is why when you leave here, well, you just feel awesome because all of the right hormones have been released in the right amounts. Like this, these workouts aren't on accident. Get enough sleep. This is a biggie. I know we have to get up early. I got up at 4:30 this morning, but I am like dialing in at 9 o'clock. I'm getting into bed. You need to really work backwards on your nighttime, and a really great way to do that is to create a really solid nighttime routine. All of the messaging that goes into running from a lion and craving food, like our bodies have reasons for things. If we have a reason, like brewing your hot tea and pulling your book out and pouring your water for the next morning and washing your face, doing those things starts to message your brain that, oh, yeah, I know what this is. It's time for bed. And you'll start to shut down. Now, this can take a couple of weeks if you're used to going pedal to the metal, looking at your phone in bed, and then being like, why am I not going to sleep? Why am I not going to sleep? I can't go to sleep, right? You have a responsibility in your nighttime routine. And I really want to encourage you to take that. Moderate your caffeine. I'm a caffeine girl, love my coffee. Sometimes I'll even do an energy drink in the afternoon. But really, your cortisol, we're pushing cortisol when we have caffeine. So you really want to moderate that. And then engage in relaxing activities. I know that we're not all getting massages every day. I know that we all can't take, 4-mile walks, but we can mostly take a 5-minute walk after dinner. We can pet our dog. We can spend some time just relaxing and talking to a friend. If you have the time to meditate, if you have the time to read a book, that would be really great. I have my dog Ava, and it really, really helps lower my stress level. Um, so make the cortisol work for you by managing your downtime and the things that you can manage to reduce that cortisol release, and then you will be in a better position for managing. If you're managing your stress, you'll be in a better position for managing your cortisol. And I really want to encourage you to take this to heart because when we only look at fat loss as calories in, calories out, we're really missing a great opportunity for understanding our bodies, understanding like our evolution, understanding why we operate the way we do. So if you have a fat loss goal, I really encourage you to kind of think about your day. And as you go through your day to day, even like think about when you're feeling stressed and what those cravings are like, and then implement things that will get you a better stress response. So I hope this was helpful in some way. And if you have any questions, as always, hit me back. Have a great day.